Saludos everyone, the new LEGO Fan 14 here, and today it's time for the myth, the legend himself. It's time. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, before we begin, two things. First off, it's a spoiler review, and secondly, this video was about to be 15 minutes long, and I know that the shorter movie reviews are the ones that are easier to watch, so I had to basically remake the entire audio. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. I still can't believe I'm discussing Puss in Boots in 2023. Well, technically it should have been 2022, but I only got a chance to watch the movie on early January. So, this video has taken a while to be made, but still, I can't believe we've been talking about Puss in Boots and just overall with Shrek. It's been so interesting just the way that Shrek has been going on recently, with people still liking Shrek, but turning him into a meme character. And at the same time, well, people have always wanted another Shrek movie. Like, at first people were disappointed in stuff like Shrek the Third, Shrek Forever After. People thought the first Puss in Boots movie was okay. But it seems like no one wanted Shrek 5. But after such news, I guess, like Shrek 5 happened in 2020, people got really hyped, especially with the infamous the whole Twitter situation of someone randomly posting Shrek 5 happened in 2020 and no one cared until Mr. Beast. Yes, the Mr. Beast you're thinking about, the famous YouTuber, gave a like to that tweet. People, for some reason, thought it was legitimate now that Shrek 5 was happening, and of course everyone was disappointed when Shrek 5, at that moment at least, was not happening. Even nowadays, we don't know if DreamWorks is currently in production for Shrek 5. And it's definitely been one of the craziest animation news of all time. But right now, there is a Shrek-related franchise, there's a Shrek-related movie right now that did materialize that we're currently watching, and it's Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, again, as I mentioned, people thought the first Puss in Boots movie was okay, but honestly, it's one of my favorite animated movies, especially for DreamWorks. I really liked it, and I overall just really like Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, Salma Hayek, and as Kitty Softpaws. Overall, I could say I really like Puss in Boots. And I definitely understand why giving him a sequel, but if it was between this or Shrek 5, I'm pretty sure 99.9% of everyone would prefer a Shrek 5 over a second Puss in Boots. But now that the movie is out, people have been glorifying it. Like, they've been praising it. They've been saying it's the best animated movie of recent years. They've been saying it's almost as good as Shrek 1 and 2. I was baffled by it. 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes. The fact that so many people were practically praising this movie, was like, it's really that great in order for people to be adoring it like they were. And I'll be honest, I'm not gonna say it's glorious. Okay, I'm not gonna simply repeat what everyone has been saying about how the movie is almost perfect. I'm gonna start mentioning the things I liked and the things I didn't like about this movie. Again, it's a spoiler review. And another thing I want to mention, that I saw this movie with my family, and right now, currently in theaters, there's only like two big movies you can watch, being either Avatar 2, The Way of Water, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Interestingly enough, both movies have quite the similar thing in common of being sequels to an important franchise that literally released a new film more than a decade after the last. Something to think about. But now let's discuss Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Now, between the things I liked, or the thing that really caught me off guard, was the main plot of the story, since I thought it was just going to be an action film of Puss in Boots teaming up with Kitty Softpaws again and this little dog called Burrito in order to find the mythical last wish, since Puss in Boots has lost 8 of his 9 lives. You know, the whole thing of cats having 9 lives. I always thought it was a myth, sort of like how Puss in Boots mentioned in the first movie that the whole cats always land on their feet is nothing but rumors spread by dogs. But in this case, it's true. Cats in this movie have 9 lives, and Puss has died 8 times. He is now looking for the last wish and to get his lives back. But let me just say that the trailer only gives you a bit of what the movie is actually about. Since at the movie, the story is basically about how Puss in Boots has been living a crazy life of adventure. But that has also meant that he's died multiple times. and now his eighth death, the doctor is now concerned, telling him that he should retire, since, well, death is after all of us. And then comes the wolf. Yeah, this wolf. I remember he was in the first trailer, and it definitely seemed like he was up to something. But the trailer's portraying him as a bounty hunter. Like Puss in Boots referred to him as a bounty hunter, and I just thought, well, I guess he's just a big bad wolf from Little Red Riding Hood, since Little Red Riding Hood herself always said that the wolf was terrifying. But afterwards, it's revealed that this wolf is actually Death, and Death is chasing Puss in Boots. And let me just say, this wolf is absolutely horrifying. You definitely feel goosebumps when he whistles, when he's on screen. He doesn't show up as much as you think, but he's really horrifying. And I guess that's why a lot of people love this wolf. So Puss in Boots, now afraid and now trying to preserve his last life, decides to go to retirement, living in a house full of cats. And that's where he meets Perito, this little dog who dresses up as a cat in order to live there, since he doesn't have any friends, family, or really anything to do. But everything changes until one day, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, now as a crime family, disrupt the place looking for Puss in Boots and talking about a shooting star that crashed onto Earth, being called the Last Wish. And everyone is looking for that map since everyone wants that last wish. So Goldilocks and the Three Bears, now with Goldilocks as an adult, are looking for the shooting star. And therefore Puss tries to get to that star, but first to get to the map, which is held by the big Jack Horner. Now, this is not like Jack Horner is practically in a similar vein to Humpty Dumpty or Jack and Jill, where he's from a children rhyme, the kid that always put his thumb into the pies. And now Jack Horner is practically the Puss in Boots equivalent of Marvel's The Collector, where Jack Horner collects fairy tale items. And here in this encounter between Puss and after Kitty Softpaws, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and Jack Horner, this turns into a chase to get the last wish to the Dark Forest, and basically it's everyone after the wish, with Puss wanting to get his 9 lives back, Kitty Softpaws wanting it for something different, and Goldilocks also looking after for the last wish, with the help of Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. Jack Horner with his Baker's Dozen trying to get it in order to control all magic, and the wolf chasing Puss in Boots. So that's basically what the movie is. So it's a very character-driven movie. And let me just say, there were some aspects I really liked. I was not expecting the story to be Puss fearing death. Like, I was not expecting this about Puss trying to escape death, the wolf. But that also gives a lot of depth to the character, of him finally being mindful of what it means to actually live. Of being more careful in the way that he does his adventure now, since now he doesn't have lives to spare. He basically just has one life now. And at the same time, it comes into this mix of having some past problem with Kitty Softpaws, with Goldilocks wanting a family of her own to practically ditch the Three Bears, Jack Horner being such a selfish villain, just wanted to get the last wish to control all magic, and the wolf trying to kill Puss in Boots. The 20 things I liked the depth that they gave Puss in Boots and his interaction with Kitty Softpaws and Perito. Also, really liked the story of Goldilocks wanting a real family, but at the end accepting the bears as her real family. I found it touching, okay? Some people think it was forced, but I liked it. It made me sympathize with Goldilocks and actually wishing for nothing bad to happen to her or the bears. Now, Jack Horner is practically the villain Disney no longer does. Irredeemable monsters. And between the things that, specifically my mom liked about the movie, she liked the inclusion of Jiminy Cricket. Like, I still can't believe there are, like, 4 Pinocchio movies in 2022. Like, the infamous Pinocchio, the true story, the infamous movie that just became a meme, Disney's live-action version of their animated movie, of course the most beloved one, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and the short appearance of Pinocchio in Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and of course Jiminy Cricket. I really liked the inclusion of Jiminy Cricket here, just being the audience trying to search for any redeeming qualities in Jack Horner, but Jack Horner is practically an irredeemable monster. who collects fairy tale items. And that could definitely lead to some really fun references. But, again, what I found interesting about this movie, the way that people have been glorifying it, and I'll be honest, I do think it's a solid film. And I definitely see why so many people loved it. I won't say it's perfect, I'm gonna give it and the main thing I didn't like about this movie, and overall, my family didn't really like much of the movie, was its overuse of fantasy, especially in comparison to First Puss in Boots. Like, I don't like movies that use magic, or use it a lot, and this movie definitely used it more than I was expecting it to, and that's something it's just a personal thing about it. I didn't like that. And at the same time, the animation style looks great, but it's definitely too different from the original Shrek films. I do really like it, but I get why not everyone would. I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and The Bad Guys movies, and The Mitchell vs. the Machines movies that have been using this unique animation style, but it's not for everyone. Not everyone is gonna like this new animation style. But this movie has opened the idea of Shrek 5 happening with that incredible after the last scene of Puss going to far, far away. And all I'm gonna say is that, well, this movie practically revived hype for Shrek 5. If that was the idea, well, it worked. People are now loving Puss in Boots, and it's even nominated, or at least from what I've seen, it's nominated for Best Animated Feature in the Oscars. Like, I believe the only other, like, recognizable movies, like, mainstream animated movies nominated are Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio and Pixar's Turning Red. And I'm pretty sure the battle is really going to be between Puss in Boots and Pinocchio. And, well, it's just crazy to think about. We live in a world where people are absolutely loving Puss in Boots too. And all I'm going to say that I think it's solid. Between this and The Bad Guys, I honestly prefer The Bad Guys, but again, it's just personal preference. But all I'm going to say is that I do think Puss in Boots The Last Wish is really solid. And I definitely see where the hype's at. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments, were you expecting much or not really much from Puss in Boots The Last Wish? Did you love it? Did you dislike it? What do you think about the movie? That's for this video. Thank you so much for watching. And I would have definitely added this movie to my Just Between Two Movies list that was practically my last video, 2022. But I guess I mentioned I didn't get a chance to watch it before the year ended. So that's why in that video it's an honorable mention. But that's why I wanted to make this video. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.